When Barry started working on the CBTD program, he was pretty sure that he just felt angry and depressed all the time. But as he practiced identifying his emotions, he realized they came in lots of different shades of intensity. Sometimes he was so furious that his anger felt out of control. At other times, he just felt moody or a little irritated. Luckily, there was a CBT scale to help him keep track of this. The CBTD program not only asked him to identify his emotions, but also to rate them on a scale from 0 to 10. This helped Barry in two ways. First, it allowed him to identify things that made him feel more or less angry or depressed. This helped him focus on thoughts and situations that were most powerfully linked to his anger or depression. Working on changing the thoughts and behaviors he had in those emotionally charged situations had the greatest impact on improving his depression and bringing his anger under control. Second, it helped him see that the treatment was working. When a CBT scale he used was effective, he could feel an immediate decrease in the intensity of his negative emotions. Also, over time, his average intensity scores for both anger and sadness started to go down, which gave him proof that the CBT skills he was practicing made a difference in how he felt. Before Barry started rating the intensity of his anger, the CBTD program prompted him to anchor his anger scale. To do this, Barry first thought about the time when he was the angriest he'd ever been. He thought about the situation with the milk. It sounded silly now, but he'd been pretty furious. But was it the angriest he'd ever been? He thought back to senior year of high school, when he got so angry at a friend that he punched through a wall. That was definitely the angriest he'd ever felt. So that would be his 10. Next, he was asked to think about a time when he'd felt absolutely no anger at all. He thought about his birthday the year before, how sweet his kids had been, and how Francisca had surprised him with a gift that he didn't expect. That was a time when he felt absolutely zero anger. Lastly, he thought of a situation that was right between those two, something that he would rate a 5. He thought about when his supervisor had asked him to skip his break again at work last week. Barry had been pretty ticked about that, but he was able to keep his anger under control. That was probably a 5 for him. Once Barry had those reference points mapped out, rating the intensity of his emotions got easier. The situation with the milk? He'd been angrier than he was at work, but it definitely wasn't punching through a wall. He decided that his anger intensity was a 7 during the milk situation.